can run uncut. Yeah. Unapologetic from the jump. Yeah. And no politics in this club. Just dirt from the streets and the creeks in the mud. Take 12. Best podcast for the Seahawks. #1 sports talk. Yeah, we got it on live. Take 12. Every episode 12 hot takes. And we reppin' for Seattle, my place. Take 12.
It's the Take 12 podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Brett Davern. He is your host, Lofa Tatupu. The show is proudly sponsored by Delta Airlines. Join their Sky Miles program. Join their 12s. What's it called? The 12 package.
The 12 pack?
Yeah. DeltaAirlines.com, everybody, for all of your travel needs. They are the best. They really are. We're not just saying that. It's the only airline that we fly here on the podcast, and you should too. If you're traveling with us to one of our travel experiences, whether it be New York, LA, or Dallas, you can jump on DeltaAirlines.com, and when you buy your flight, then let us know, and we'll hook you up with a code to get some discounts, to get $51 back, actually, on your flight.
12 status.
Which, 12 status, yeah. Sign up for 12 status at DeltaAirline.com. But then, hey, let us know you bought your flight, and we'll hook you up with $51 back. Cheeky by Delta Airlines on that one. Yeah, welcome to the show, everybody. On today's episode, we got a squad. The Seahawks, we got the roster. They made the final cuts, so we'll go through that. News around the NFL, people being cut, people being traded, new faces in new places, so we'll go through some of those. And then also, I have a question for Lofa that's been being asked in I was trying to get asked in some NFL locker rooms, and I'm surprised it got asked out loud. I'll ask Lofa that a little bit later. That's what we call teases, Lofa.
Okay.
You excited?
Thrilled.
You like the rundown today?
I do.
Come on, big guy. Get excited.
Well,
It's football season. Let's
talk
go.
about the final game. We could talk about the roster. Where do you want to start?
I thought you might start with USC kicking off their season in week 0.
I mean, that was expected. I didn't like how close the game was, but that quarterback that they have at San Jose State is a stud.
You're going to need a defense.
We've always said that. And
Yeah.
Look, the talent's there. It's really, the fundamentals aren't, squaring your shoulder pads when you hit, wrapping, driving your legs on contact. Those are the things that, take you from ordinary to extraordinary. And that's really the only thing holding us back right now. But I don't have any problem with the game plan that was called by Grinch, our D coordinator. Guys very undisciplined with their eyes. Some long shots that just were unnecessary. Did not, we should have got off the field. So that's the only reason it was close in the first half. Give San Jose State credit that they came out and fought, tooth and nail. And even into the fourth quarter, until we had that 3 or 4 touchdown lead, they were right there. Zachariah Branch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, Caleb's going to have to fight with him for the Heisman again, or not again, but this year.
Man, 232 all-purpose in his first game, 2 touchdowns. It was an incredible debut for that young man.
Yeah, totally. How many points is Caleb going to have to put up every game, though?
56 at least. and it would have been 70 because now with the running clock or the new rules, so it's I think more similar to the NFL in terms of game speed and how long duration of the game. But yeah, I mean, Caleb put up another 4 touchdowns. I think that's his 10th, 4th touchdown game. He tied my boy Matty Leinart. Which is incredible because Caleb's only played 15 games.
Yeah.
Matty started for 3 years, and so he's in elite company, and he's just going to continue to break his own records at this point.
Okay, what about there's this rumor floating around out there, or I'm seeing stories on SportsCenter. PTI is debating about whether or not the Arizona Cardinals might be already tanking for Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
based on who they've announced as their quarterback and what they're doing roster-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something's up. But I did see a report, too, that Caleb said, depending on who has the pick, he might not declare for the draft. So there's that too. And I mean, with the money that they're making in college now, especially a player of his caliber, you're not, pigeonholed into making that decision. And
True.
so, but, and I want to see him stay as long as he can, but, hopefully get a national title or two. But I got a feeling.
Do you think you would have stayed? Do you think you would have stayed longer had it been sort of the way it is now, maybe? Or, I mean, that would have obviously played into the decision probably.
Absolutely. And I would have stayed for my senior year because that was the whole, decision making that goes into it is, okay, well, there's a possibility you can get hurt. Now, Caleb's a pocket passer, so I don't think there's no injury that we've seen from the quarterback position from them not to come back and still be successful. But at linebacker, and I didn't have a lot of speed, so I needed every year I could get. But that would have definitely played a factor, knowing that, okay, I do have some money coming in and I can enjoy my senior year with, my team. I would have stayed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, that would have been fun. Man, imagine all you guys coming back for one more.
Oof. Well, I mean, I think we would have beat that Texas team. I'm just going to say it.
Never know. Never know what would have happened. Hey, let's talk some Seahawks here, and because camp is over, it's time to roll over everything into the actual new season here, and check out the roster and all of that stuff. And we will do that, but we got to give away our camp giveaway. Also, people have been entering our contest, and we just, you guys, when Katie and I go to stuff, we just grab things we see there, and then we'll give it away on the show from time to time. So Katie just takes things. So at training camp, we were able to swipe a couple yearbooks and some cups, and what else is in there? Some sunglasses.
There's chapstick and sunscreen.
Yeah, and this isn't just like someone's sunglasses. These are the training camp sunglasses. So they're official. They're licensed by the Seahawks or whatever.
And it's signed.
The yearbook is signed by Bobby Wagner himself and Tyler Lockett. We got them to sign it as we were standing there on the ropes with everybody. And so we'll be giving that away. You want to give it away now or do it a little bit later?
Later.
All right, we're going to do it later in honor of training camp ending. And thank you guys to everyone who entered. If you want to enter our contests, all you got to do is email us. It's seahawkspod@gmail.com, right?
Yep.
That's the email address? Or does it take
two teasers in one show.
It's both, right? Both email addresses work. Okay. Training camp is over, my friend. As you looked at how the roster shook itself out, were there any surprises? And what were your thoughts?
Yeah, tough decisions have to be made, on the roster day. And, there was one surprise, I think it wasn't a super surprise because we're so stacked at the position at outside linebacker. But Levi Bell, he is a guy that was relentless all over the field. He is the epitome of what Pete Carroll looks for when he finds competitors. And I'd be surprised. I know we're definitely going to try to bring him back, but I'd be surprised if someone doesn't claim him.
Really?
From on the waiver wire.
That was going to be one of the things I was asking you. Honestly, I wrote him down because we talked about him in the episodes leading up to this, but that was my first thought when I saw obviously how it went. That they're going to have to try to bring him back, and my question to you was going to be: are they going to be able to? Sounds like maybe not. Too much good tape out there.
Just too much good tape. And speaking of that fact, I mean, we went into Green Bay with our third and fourth string players on defensive line, secondary. Almost everybody was out. Nobody played other than Mike Jack maybe. And we held them to 9 points. So, I mean, there's a lot to be excited about that because, we don't even have Wags and those guys out there yet. They handle business down there, and they almost came away with the win at the very end.
Mm-hmm. The wide receivers room had a lot of folks in it. The waves are John Hall, Cade Johnson, Matt Landers, who we talked about. I mean, he's a speed guy. And also Aesop Winston Jr. as far as wide receivers. Like we were just talking about, got to figure they're going to try to bring some guys back, on like practice squad and so forth. But is that kind of how you thought it would go in terms of what happened there?
Yeah, and there's two guys you just named. Landers and Winston. Winston had a phenomenal game. Landers, we saw that 30-yard touchdown earlier in the preseason, so he's got some, playmaking ability. And I expect, I don't think there was enough tape out there, so I think we'll be able to get, both those guys back. But you got to be excited about the depth of this team, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry.
And then we didn't even mention Bobo.
Well, okay, so I was going to talk about the receivers that made the squad. Tyler Lockett, ever heard of him? DK Metcalf and JSN, of course. Cody Thompson and Derek Young, and then also undrafted Jake Bobo, who is the toast of Seattle right now, and everybody's rooting for him for sure.
He just makes plays, man. And when presented with the opportunity, I think he was 7 of 9 on his catches compared to targets, and a couple touchdowns. That one in Green Bay, he knows how to get in blind spots, and he sets the guy up, and then he has game speed. I know everyone points to the 4.9 40. If there's a guy that knows about game speed, that's me right here.
About this 40 time forever.
It's gonna and it'll go away eventually in a year or two when he keeps catching touchdown passes. But
yeah, man,
he's a guy that's made the most of his opportunities, and man, it's been incredible to watch. And Pete's had a history of wide receivers making their mark undrafted. We had Curse on a week ago. Doug. They're just. The guys that come in with a chip on their shoulder, got something to prove, and then they do it.
How about the running backs room? We were talking offense, so let's just stay with it. The running backs room ends up Kenneth Walker III, of course, Charbonnet, DJ Dallas, and Kenny McIntosh. So the 4 of them. So Roderick Thompson waved there at the end. I mean, we talked about him last episode. What a spark plug out there. Just like, it looked great. I mean, tough, fast. I hope they can get him through, right?
Well, I mean, and you see where the way the running back market is around the league, that, you got a guy like Sir Roderick Thompson not making a roster. I got to imagine someone's going to pluck him he has plenty of tape.
I'm nervous. I wanted him. I want him back. Want him back. Will somebody call someone at the Seahawks? Katie, call somebody over there. Brett Tavern wants him back. That one, man. That one really, though, I raised an eyebrow on that one. I thought, I don't know.
Yeah, look great again. They just, it's like I said, tough decisions. And I mean, but that's what you're faced with when you build a roster the way John and Pete have over the years. Yeah. And the opportunity that these kids are going to get elsewhere, is really what I'm excited about, because the journey's not over for them. For a lot of us, it's over when we get cut. But for them, because they bet on themselves and they said, hey, I'm going to go to the Seahawks and join the offseason with them, they're going to get opportunities elsewhere, because this is where everybody plucks from when they go to make their roster.
Yeah. I'm looking at this offensive roster, man. I mean, I have the whole sort of depth chart pulled up right here in front of me, and I don't really see any holes. I really like what I see on paper, just reading the names, black and white. Looks great to me. The offensive line is steady. I recognize these guys from last year. The draft picks look good. The young guys look good. I think I read that every draft pick made the squad from this draft. So that's exciting. Again, talking about young talent and just sort of the age. So I'm pumped. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
20 first and second year players out of the 53. So when you talk about, youth and that hungry, young energy, that's, man, they brought it to Seattle. And so it's exciting.
Well, let's flip sides of the ball then. So on defense, we talked about Levi Bell, but let's hone in on specific position groups, or what was you were talking linebackers, but maybe we switch over to look at the secondary, or what do you want to look at over here first?
Yeah, no real surprises. Like I said, let's see. Let's stick with the D-line for a second.
Okay.
We're absolutely stacked outside. Inside is kind of really where I think Monet, I think we still need one big body, and Monet, and then even Faola is they're not be able to come back until like week 4. So
because of the PUP list.
Yeah, the PUP. So I mean, that kind of calms my nerves in terms of
2 nose tackles on that.
Yeah, getting a little more help inside, just to stay fresh. That's the only thing I worry about. But stacked outside, Tyreek Smith, he's a guy that they were excited about last year, but he was injured the whole year. He did some great things in the preseason, and I know he's going to contribute on special teams. Derek Hall, Mafe, the most improved. I mean, we didn't even see like a snap of Chenna, and we don't have to because we know what he brings.
Right.
So it is just top to bottom. That whole room is stacked.
Well, and as you're looking at this, if you're just like I am, sort of looking at it on Seahawks.com, they have Mafe and Daryl Taylor and Nwosu listed under linebacker.
Yeah, DT,
right?
9.5 sacks last year. I mean, like he's been injured, so I don't know when we're going to see him. But yeah, he adds a whole other element. He didn't even play a ton of snaps, so to get 9.5 sacks, he made the most of his opportunities last year, and excited to see the growth from year 2 to 3 now.
I mean, I know I'll just give you plenty of time to talk linebackers all day long, because this group, if you just read these names on the list, I mean, Bobby Wagner, Jordan Brooks, Devin Bush, Radigan, Ballore, Nwosu, Taylor, Mafe, Derek Hall, and Tyreek Smith. I mean, what? Do other teams in the league even have linebackers?
Yeah.
We got all of them.
Like I said, stacked is the only thing that keeps coming to mind. And it's a long season with that 17th game. And so just I feel good about where we're at. I know the Hawks do. I know Dev got a little dinged up in that game. He had a nice big hit, and I think he probably took the worst of it. He was a little shaken up. But I saw a report where Pete said he'd be surprised if Brooks didn't make week 1. So,
wow.
Yeah. So that's great. Just happy for the kid coming off injury. I know about the rehab process. It's a brutal one, and but he's young, and he'll bounce back. Excited to see him play.
I think with those names and with the depth they're assembling there, the message to the league is go ahead and try to run the ball. We dare you, isn't it? Because of what we saw last year.
Exactly. We're going to get tested week 1. I'd be surprised if they didn't just come out and run it 60-70% of the time, even though I know they love to throw the ball.
I'm kind of wondering, I mean, we know our guy Lofa was in the building a little bit this offseason, and with this linebacking group, I'm just kind of wondering, how much credit you want to take for
I can't take any of the credit, man.
No, I mean, there must be some coincidence, though. Our guy poking around all offseason, all of a sudden there's just tons of great linebackers. Somebody was in there lobbying, I think.
I mean, I'm always going to lobby for linebackers.
I know. But, that's what I'm saying. I know you are. I know.
John Glenn, Coach John Glenn, he does a hell of a job of teaching and getting these guys ready to prepare to play. Patty O'Connell never played linebacker. He was like a D end, and he was a roster cut that was kind of surprising, and another one I'd anticipate that other teams are probably looking at. They're going over his film and saying, "Hey, this guy can help our ball club."
Right. Let's see here. Secondary, on the back end, Tariq Woolen, of course, Trey Brown, Michael Jackson. He's back.
The king of pop.
He is back. I tried. Devin Witherspoon, of course, Kobe Bryant, and Artie Burns, and then safeties, Quandre Diggs. I mean, how about this group? Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams with just the return, man. I mean, the comeback tour. Let's do this thing, right? Let's go. And then Julian Love and Jarek Reed the second. Are you excited about the secondary? You got to be.
It is an embarrassment of riches. There's probably 2 deep starters, and I can't say Reed yet because he's just a rookie, but he played his ass off this preseason. He's going to help on teams, but he gets to learn from all these veterans, and yeah, man, it's a great problem to have. Everybody's like, where are you going to play? Who cares? Just put him on the field, and the different packages you can roll out there with Adams, Brooks, and Bobby. All 3 of those guys can hunt the quarterback down. Yeah, and so it doesn't matter who's coming. You're not going to stop them, not consistently.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, one of our probably one of the guys that'll be doing most of the pass rushing is listed at safety. So let's do this. Yeah, man. Hey, Take 12 is also brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. Let me remind you, 2 locations in Everett and Fife. Go on in today, mention the Take 12 podcast, get a free small soda with any other purchase. They've been here from the very beginning, everybody. We know you love them, and we love them, so go check them out. Delicious desserts as well, root beer floats and sundaes and milkshakes and all of the above. You don't have to get the chili sauce on your hot dogs or hamburgers, but I recommend it. Do a little something different. For lunch today, it's Wiener Schnitzel in Everett and Fife. Lofa, here's my question for you.
Yes, Brett.
Is the NFL scripted?
What does that mean? I'll make this as awkward as you will.
Well, this is the part where I'm supposed to just stand there and say nothing. I've been seeing this thing. I mean, it's on the internet, like the Cincinnati Bengals, which I was surprised their official Twitter account is the one that put it out there. But somebody walked through their locker room just asking players that question and then seeing their reaction and listening for the answer. But I don't know. Is the NFL scripted?
I mean, there's been some debates about a game, Super Bowl 40, that may have been scripted. I don't know. But no, I don't think my fucking 10 surgeries and 15 concussions were scripted. They just fucking happened.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, Katie and I were talking about this before we fired up to record the show today. And it's like, you know, in our world, everything is scripted, right? Not the podcasts and stuff, but the world we come from and being on TV shows and doing movies and stuff. I mean, they hand us a script and we go shoot it and we understand what that is. If you asked me as just a fan and knowing you guys and just seeing the world of sports from that side, like, no, I don't think they're being handed a script and then playing it out like, okay, it's 2nd and 2 and we're supposed to do this and then I yell this across the line, or no, there's nothing like that or anything like that. Now, do I think, in my opinion, that the league would hope certain things happen certain ways or that certain matchups happen because ratings will be better or whatever? Of course they do, in the same way that, you know, you hope something weird happens at an award show or whatever, and so I think, would they like the Jets to be in the Super Bowl this year against maybe his former team, the Packers? Of course, that'd be incredible, right? But are they going to script it to that? I highly doubt that. And there's no way that they could get the players to go along with that. No way.
I don't know if there's any amount of scripting to get the Packers to the Super Bowl. I'm going to say it right now. I'm just going to say it right now. If you couldn't do it with Aaron Rodgers in the last several years, you're not going to do it without Aaron Rodgers. The Jets, on the other hand, maybe. You know. But, I know what you're saying. What was the answer of the Bengals players?
Guys, they pretty much did exactly what you did, which is just kind of sit there and go like, I mean, no, and or just sort of don't know what to say. And a lot of the guys actually had fun with it. They just looked in the camera and said yes, and then like ran away, But I don't know. It's I mean, definitely not in the way that like WWE is. Because there's
that's real.
Where, well, there's an example where, they are flying around. Their bodies are flying around. That is real. There's no way you can fake that. But in terms of who wins and things, those outcomes are predetermined. There's no way that the NFL or any other sport is doing that.
You mean those are fake chairs? Brett Davern, is that what you're telling me? You're going to tell me my whole childhood was a lie?
Hey, man. Unless Mick Foley was in there. I mean, that was all real, dude. The match with the thumbtacks and the whole oof. Oh,
what a beast.
About it. All right, moving on. Other storylines. Looking around the league, big news within our own division is the Trey Lance trade. Trey Lance, number 4 pick overall back in 2020. Does that sound right? Something like that? Has been traded to the Dallas Cowboys. And so here's the thing. News because it's inside the division, right? Okay, it's the Niners. We got to talk about it. But also news because what the hell is Jerry doing? And what are the Cowboys ever doing? And does he ever think about the coach or like the existing quarterback that he just gave a huge deal to? And all of the media S storm that's going to come along with this. Lofa, like, I have to get your thoughts on what you thought when you saw all this going down in Jerry World.
I thought it was classic Jerry move. Like, what are we doing? Like,
I mean, speaking of WWE, dude, he's the Vince McMahon of the NFL, isn't he?
You want to talk about always keep them guessing? Yeah. What the fuck was that? Like,
I don't know.
I mean, I'm excited for Trey, to continue his career, get out of there, and a new setting, because the kid does have talent, and hopefully sitting behind Dak Prescott and learning, he'll find his own way to lead and play this game, but it just it doesn't make sense. And the biggest question mark of it was when I watched the Cowboys Raiders, their last game. Will Greer, right? Who was like, okay, he's the backup, and they cut him or traded him to Cincy, whatever they did. But he went. I have his stats right here: 29 of 35 for 305 and 2 touchdowns. Like, why would you go look for something else if you have that?
Because it wasn't the 4th pick in the draft, Lofa. Are you not listening?
Dude, it's wild. It's wild to me.
It's got to be a weird Jerry like fame name thing. Like what? I don't get it either, man. It doesn't make any sense. And also bringing him in this late, you got to then have a roster spot for him. So he's
basically the playbook,
clipboard. Yeah, like what?
Greer also had 10 rushes for 53 yards. Kid had 350 yards.
Get him out of here.
That guy's too good. Get him out of here.
Get him out of here. We're not interested. These are the Cowboys. We're just trying to make news.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. What about Dak, though? I mean, what would you be thinking as Dak? You just signed the big deal. He's the man there, but they're just bringing in the kid that was drafted number 4 a couple years ago.
Yeah, he has no worries. He's not, sitting there at night staying awake.
Except for having to teach Trey the playbook now.
He does have to do that. I mean, I'm sure. But, I mean, competition makes everybody better. I don't think there's a real competition there, but that making a trade like that for it, it's very confusing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you get any sort of sick, twisted joy at all, though, out of this sort of thing happening to the Niners? Not happening to Trey, the player, or anything like that, but just sort of like, I mean, they gave away a lot to get him, all that kind of stuff. I mean, as a Seahawk fan, I sort of get a little laugh behind the scenes to myself.
Not a laugh.
Corner to my house by myself at night. What? Don't judge me.
Sick man, Brett Davern. No, my heart goes out to the kid because I played the game and then like John Lynch and Shanahan, they're not happy with how it all unfolded. But I did a couple of years ago when we talked, I questioned why the Niners or Kyle Shanahan would ever draft a quarterback high, because his ability to develop all of them. I mean, just with Jimmy G taking him to the Super Bowl and then another NFC title game.
Winning with Trey Lance. The last pick in the draft.
Winning with Trey Lance before he got hurt. And then, Purdy coming and saving the day and going undefeated until the NFC Championship where he got hurt, But his ability to do that is incredible. And so I've never understood why they would, I guess if you can get a Hall of Famer, if that's what they believed, then I think that's why you take a guy so high. But
but how much of the blame does Shanahan deserve, or anyone around there for that matter, for what happened with Trey Lance and not developing him into what they should have?
Well, I think more so it's the draft capital I think they gave up to move up to get him is what the storyline's been, was like just kind of along the lines of the Russell's deal and Herschel Walker, like some because those picks, I forget who they traded with. I think the Eagles. It became A.J. Brown with one of the trades, and then Devontae Smith, and then they got Jalen Carter or somebody else from that deal.
Yeah.
It became 3, but 2 All-Pros and then 1, that's going to be very special. Yeah. So that's more of the storylines that come out of these things rather than it didn't work out. And it's more like, what did we give up to make that move?
Hey, speaking of giving stuff up, we got to give some stuff away. But before we do that, we got to take a commercial break. Oh. Hey, we're back on the show. All right, cool. You want to give some stuff away, Katie?
Heck yeah.
All right, let's do it. It's time for the training camp giveaway, everybody. We got the yearbook. We got the...
No,
what?
no, we're doing that next week.
Next week?
Next week.
We said we were doing it today.
When you were doing it later, you meant later in the show.
No, next week.
Oh, my God. Flag on the play, everybody.
Classic mix-up.
Hold on. Wait a second. So, producer Katie, when you said do it later, you meant the next episode.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you want to win this stuff, email us. take12pod@gmail.com. That is the ultimate tease. Wow. Okay. Keep hanging on till next week. You know what? If you want to win something from this week's episode, send us the code word. What code word?
Nobody beats Epic Seats.
Nobody beats Epic Seats, and I'll send you something from the desk. How about that?
Yeah.
There
I
you
met
go.
Jimmy Seats. Great dude.
On time. You met Jimmy Seats?
Yeah, he was at a golf tournament Monday.
I could have guessed.
Great dude. Tall dude.
Ooh.
Dude. Jimmy doesn't fit in the seats. He's too tall.
No, yeah. Jimmy needs to be on the aisle. He needs leg room. Jimmy leg room. Yeah, dude, my man is always golfing. He's like the you of his place.
What?
You know what I mean. Him and Lofa are always golfing. That's all I mean. Oh, he's the best. You guys, by the way, speaking of Epic Seats, go on over to epicseats.com for all of your ticketing and seating needs this Seahawks season, or any season for that matter. They have concert tickets as well as sporting events. The Mariners are red hot, so they got their tickets over there. Also, if you're holding seats for any of these events that I mentioned, concerts or any sporting events, and you can't go for some reason, or you're looking to sell your tickets, do that with Epic Seats as well, and mention the Take 12 podcast. And either way, whether you're buying or selling, they'll give you something for listening to the podcast. So if you're buying, you get 12% off when you spend $100. And if you're selling, check this one out, you get an extra $12 for every seat that you sell to them and you mention our podcast. So if you've got a block of 8 tickets that you're trying to offload, sell them with Epic Seats, mention us, get an extra $12 per seat just for mentioning the podcast. It's epicseats.com, everybody. Nobody beats Epic Seats. All right, we're not doing a giveaway. That means the show is over.
We're going to be at Touchdown City.
Oh, breaking news, everybody. Yeah, we will be at Touchdown City. Before the game, week 1, Bobby's returned to Seattle. They're taking on the Rams. And we'll talk about that and everything on next week's episode, where we also give away the thing. You know.
Oh, and we got a party, right?
We got a party going on before the game. There's a tailgate party going on before the game with Mission Outdoors. It's happening down by the stadium.
Down by the river.
Down by the stadium.
At the pho restaurant.
That's right. All the details next week. They got to listen next week. You guys are so excited for the season, you're a week ahead. See, the NFL scripted the preseason in a way where they only do 3 games now. So there's this convoluted cockamamie week where they don't play in between. Don't get ahead of yourselves.
We could talk Trojan football if you want.
Oh, what's that? We're out of time. Sorry, gotta go.
Break us down, bro.
Shout out to Wiener Schnitzel. Shout out to Delta. Shout out to Epic Seats. And check out our trips, take12travel.com. If you want to travel with us, go to take12travel.com and book today. Those spots are selling out fast. Get over there. This team is going to be hot, and you want to be traveling with them. Hands in the middle, Lofa. You break us down, my man. You're the captain.
I got it the last few times. You got this.
Okay. Young and hungry on 3, young and hungry on me. 1, 2, 3. Young and hungry.
Youngry.